Hey, what's up, everybody? Vandal here for another DAOdrops interview with Perry Paints for the 12th of March. We've got a new DAOdrop coming through. How you doing?
I'm doing great, bro. Doing great. Doing some painting, just hanging out, kind of stoned.
Nice. Appreciate the time, and it's great. We had a few technical difficulties on our journey here to this recording, but we are here and we're ready
Here
to get
now.
into it. I
Yes,
guess we'll
sir.
start. Let's start with just a little intro about yourself and maybe about your music, your background, and all that stuff.
Name's Perry Porter. Go by Perry Paints. I'm a rapper slash painter slash just crazy man from Tacoma, Washington. Been doing music since I was a kid. Did drums for a while. My dad was a DJ. He was super into music, so that got me into it. Painting, yeah, just paint black women, love black women, and now I'm just here.
Nice. And okay, so you did mention your dad's a DJ, and I really like my mom was one of the people who influenced me to get into music and encouraged me. So what was it like growing up with a DJ dad?
Oh man, he was always on new music. He even now kind of on new music. I just be pulling up sometimes like, oh, you're listening to this right now? Okay, okay, man. But he yeah, always had music around the house. We had a big book with the CDs that he would label from different cities and regions. So I would just dive into those. It would be like all the rappers from Brooklyn, all the rappers from LA, the music's going on in Detroit. He's all over the place, man. My mom was a big house cleaner on the weekends, so then he was always playing vinyl music and stuff like that. So I stole some of his vinyls. I don't have it with me right now. I'm in the process of moving, but stole a lot of his stuff. You know what I'm saying? The Bootsy Collar, the Funkadelic stuff, the Algorithm shit. So just a lot of music, man.
So would you say that that being around all this different music and experiencing the different genres, do you think that how that impacted your music and your creative process at all?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Because being from Washington, I wasn't really tapped into like they don't have like a very large music scene out here compared to all these other places. And my dad's from LA and Arkansas, so coming out here, it was just he didn't really listen to the music here, so I was always finding other music to listen to. So I feel like getting this like crash course of all these different regions and cities and sounds kind of just made my music now where a lot of people can't even tell where I'm from when they hear my music or yeah, stuff like that. So I feel like I answered that right.
And what about your art, right? Like, you mentioned watercolor is your primary medium. Maybe you can kind of share how you got into watercolor and like why you chose watercolor.
I've always drawn my whole life. Like I was really enjoying anime and just stuff in the class and whatnot. I was the kid back in class, I was just drawing on the desk and shit. But oh shit. But while I was doing music, because I've been rapping a little bit longer than doing painting, I needed someone to do album art. So I was just looking through a bunch of just inspiration stuff, and I seen this watercolor painting, and it just like drew me in. It was just the coolest looking shit. The drips, the way like all the colors came together. I just fell in love with it. I was like, I need something like this. Looked it up. Too much money. I couldn't afford it at that time, my budget. But like I was fixated on it, and like I just couldn't let it go. So it's like, fuck it. I'm gonna buy the watercolor stuff and I'm gonna just learn as I go. And this was like in 2012, I think. And then yeah, now I've just been here. I'm still learning, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, now it's just a job. It was great.
Do you have like I guess visual art influences? Are there any particular artists who drive your work personally, or that you love their work?
Oh yeah, definitely. Kerry James Marshall is one for sure. Just from like the more I got into painting, I was realizing how much there wasn't that many Black painters. So I kind of just had just a yearning to find that. And when I fell into his art, like his philosophy of trying to be a master of painting and then like always only paint Black figures and stuff like that. And the fact that I only basically paint Black women when I do my personal art, that was a big draw for me. So it was dope to like have a bar to like look up to. So he was a big person. Of course, Basquiat, you know what I'm saying? That's the main guy who did all of that. Salvador Dali. I would say newer people too, like James Jean. He's really, really tight. I really like James Jean's work. Like, yeah, his work is where I want to get to. And then from watercolor, this lady named Agnes Cecile. She's really, really, really dope. She's a good inspiration for watercolor stuff.
And yesterday we were talking about like your process and in discovering your process and documenting that. Maybe you can just give the people a little insight into your choice of the speed painting and how you sort of use that to promote yourself.
Yeah. So with my music, I got fixated on the fact that I was younger. I found out Biggie and Lil Wayne and Jay-Z didn't write their lyrics. So I started to want to try that process to see how I felt. And I just fell in love with it. It was like this free flowing, kind of live in the moment thing. So it just became how I prefer to write music now. I don't think either way is better preferred, you know what I'm saying? But that's the way I just prefer to do it. And then when I got into watercolor, I realized that was the same correlation that I fell in love with the watercolor. It was like the free flowing. You don't really have full control over it. And so like when I would always start doing watercolors, I couldn't do it without sketching before. So I was like, man, I want to just get better at not having to sketch it out with pencil. So you don't have to see any pencil marks, no erase marks. It's just the water beautifully just soaked into the paper. So I was like, fuck it, every morning for an hour, I'm just gonna paint without a pencil and then see what happens. And I did that for a while and I realized I started getting better. So I was like, oh shit, like I'm gonna just record these. And it was just more or less just for fun, just to just see them. And I just liked how the process looked because I'd watch speed paint videos. So I was like, I should just probably put these out because I enjoy watching something like this. Somebody else enjoys something watching like this. And I'm getting better while doing it. So it's just a win-win for everything. And yeah, then it became things that people love to watch now. It became my style that people enjoy when they see the colors come together. And it's just living in the moment is dope. It's really, really dope.
Yeah, and you even did a song about it, right? A watercolor. I really like that joint. It resonates a lot with me, and it shows like your personality and the colors and the vibe and the feel. And I like how you kind of showed both versions of you as the artist, you as the MC, and then you as the painter, and how that kind of fits together. Let's talk about Miss Banks or Mrs. Banks, right? Maybe tell us a bit about the like what's this, is there a particular meaning to the song? Is it about someone in particular?
I would say it's about like more of an energy or like a persona more. Like I said, it's the beautiful girl with the curly hair that you're trying to impress. You know what I'm saying? You got the good weed and you got the jazz just going on and some artsy stuff playing and you're just hanging out and just enjoying the vibes. That's like really like the main point of the song. Just the cutie Miss Banks is just the girl that I just made up at the time. But yeah, some people could hear that and definitely hear themselves. I could say that.
Yeah, I was kind of reminded of Most Def's Miss Fat Booty, and
Oh
that like
yeah,
just
man, I
that
love most
description,
that.
the description of the woman, and maybe not necessarily specifically about one particular woman, but just the general. Yeah.
Yes.
And so you worked with a singer on this, Talela. Maybe
Mhm.
tell us a bit about how you two connected.
I've met her through shows. We did a couple of shows together, and it was just always a blast watching her perform. She's got a great voice. Enjoy her music, and I just like love what she stands for. You know what I'm saying? So like when I was doing the song, it was just kind of like I've always wanted to work with her. I've always wanted a song with her. I feel like her voice is complement perfectly. I was like, well, no better song than, you know what I'm saying, Taylor. She smokes weed, you know what I'm saying? her boyfriend have their time together, Brandon. So like something I feel like they can also move to. So I was like, check this out. She loved it and sent it right away. It was magic.
Nice. And Jake wanted me to ask you this question, and I think this fits in well right now. Is your work with Old Milk, your producer,
Yeah.
and like how did you guys connect, like on Gray, and sort of like what's the story behind that?
Oh man, so me and Old Milk linked through our friend Carrick. Carrick was a big music guy out here and did a lot of shows, wrote for the blog, stuff like that. And Old Milk was always just a big fan of my music. He was just always sending me beats. And like at first I was like, oh yeah, they're dope. It's like not the vibe I'm on. But he was just really persistent on just sending me stuff. I was like, I really fucked with stuff. And I fucked with the fact that like he didn't take it personal and just be like, we'll figure something out that vibes. And then he sent me something for my Bobby Ross project, and I just wrote it right away. It was the 20 grand song with RD. And then through there, we started kicking it more. So I was like, all right, we like finding a sound that we work together. And we started hanging out and just clicked. Like it was just like finding a brother. You know what I'm saying? So every few weeks, I just come over there, cases of beer, and we would just drink and play music for each other, argue about music. Me and him argue a lot. Argue about music and shit, and then we would just make music. And then one day he was showing me some of his own solo stuff that he's never played for anybody, where he was like singing and everything. And then I was like, yo, what the fuck is this, bro? Like, this is great. Like, let's do more of this. Like, I want to go into more of like the indie dance route and do more house stuff. Let's have fun. So then that's how pretty much Gray came about. And then it was a playoff since Bobby Ross was the Color Theory album. We would do a grayscale album. So it'd be more because the Bobby Ross project, it was every song sounds different. But this project was going to have one kind of sound we'll work with and then try to expand it out as much as possible. So yeah, so then we worked on that for like 3 4 months. It was just every couple of weeks I come over there. We just get trashed, hang out, and then the 2 songs would be done, and then we just keep doing the same flow.
Yeah, we spoke last about the quarantine and the pandemic that was going on, and sort of how Mrs. Banks came about in terms of the beat and the music, and how you and Old Milk kind of put that together. Maybe you can kind of reflect on the impact of the lockdown and the quarantine and pandemic on you, and sort of how that evolved into the process of the creation of this track.
Yeah, like because at first when the pandemic stuff happened, it was kind of panic mode because we had a project coming out that was like pretty much made for shows. You know, it was like made to be played out for people to enjoy and being around everybody else. And to have this project that was like, man, no one's gonna listen to it. It's not for indoors. Like, so we did panic at first, and then ended up still just doing pretty well, just because I felt like the music was good. So like it did its tracks it was supposed to. And then since after that, it just gave us a lot of time to just sit there and make a bunch of music. So we were just showing they're like, hey man, since we can't perform this anymore, we can't do certain things, like we should just get pretty much back to work. So we sent him a bunch of just sample stuff. We made a big playlist, and he would just send me songs back, and we just knock them out that way. This was probably the first project we didn't do together. You know what I'm saying? I did it, of course, quarantine stuff, but I was just knocking out stuff. I was in the groove since we were just right coming off of Gray. So it just worked out for me really well. And just like the fact that I've always kind of been in virtual spaces, it was very easy for me to kind of just maneuver through that and keep things going, like with the speed painting videos, being able to perform like in my living room or coming up with like music videos kind of for like performances, because I'm just a very theatrical person like that. So it was easy for me to just hype myself up and make it seem like it was more of a show and just do more stuff like that. I'm my biggest cheerleader, so you know I got me.
Yeah. Are there plans for a music video for this track?
uh man, I really don't know. That was honestly the kind of in a weird way, the downfall of quarantine for me making music is I end up with too much music that I like don't know where I want to go with anything at the moment. You know, so um, we were thinking about it because, like I said, even before doing this whole thing, it was just a song I was just chilling for moments. It's like, oh man, now we could put this out, make a video. We can't make this a whole thing now. So now that I'm sitting here, yeah, there will be a music video. There will definitely be a music video. I just decided that now.
Nice. And you know, like we were introduced to you through AP, right? And I'm curious, like before before that, were you like aware of what's happening in this crypto space and blockchain and with NFTs and audio NFTs and that kind of stuff?
Not like super savvy. I was just always kind of hearing about it, and I would just tap in every now and then. But for what AP has told me, we have talked about like this is where I've been wanting things to go. You know what I'm saying? There's still things to work out, but this is the best solution so far. I've worked in the right direction.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of times like people are looking at these alternatives to Spotify and the traditional music industry in its current state, and you know, there's been a lot of talk about financial freedom and sovereignty and peer-to-peer relationships between artists and their fans, and you know, like it's difficult to achieve that I think through the current music streaming platforms. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on the current music industry and the state of the music industry at the moment?
Oh man, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I try my hardest to stay on the outskirts of a lot of that stuff just because it's so easy to just lose track of or just power anything, you know? Like they really have such a grasp on all that stuff to the point we don't know the stream was worth, so you'll never really know how much you're worth or value to that business. But to making, all this off of us and they have every information in the world about that shit. And then like said, just seeing people spend a lot of money to get the terrible payouts that they get and just knowing there's so many great artists that we know that don't own any of the beautiful things they've made. It's a nasty place. I hate it.
Yeah, I feel like it's also impacted the way that people consume music because
Right.
I'm from an era of like vinyl tapes and CDs, and I guess you know you can relate to that too with your dad as a DJ. You have the opportunity to kind of look at the liner notes and have that sort of physical experience with it, and you know streaming has kind of removed that. And I think that you know the way that we look at this space, this audio NFT and blockchain space, is to be able to reconnect with music again, and do it in a way which is like a merger of the physical and the digital to be able to offer these experiences. And you know like because you have live, no sorry not live, but usually you sell like merch and you do stuff at live shows and maybe you'll mail stuff out, but you know these NFTs are almost the same kind of thing, right? Like it's that direct connection, the relationship between the artist and fan. And I think that the music industry probably needs more of this, and getting away from that sort of just passive consumption of music, but back to like the real, like I'm going to sit and soak this in and enjoy it. Um,
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of just fast food music being made, and it's a lot.
so we're actually in crypto voxels, like well, you know, when this interview is airing, is going to be inside crypto voxels, the virtual world space, and you know, there's the NFT is going to be up on the wall here. People can be in there, experience it, be a part of
It's right
this.
there. You're right
Yeah, say what's up to the
there.
avatars. um, yeah, and okay, so I guess I'm trying to think if there were any more questions that I thought about asking you. Maybe we could kind of look at sort of what's next then. what's coming up next for you? What do you want to do? Is there something that like, that you really want to do that you haven't been able to? Like, what's on your bucket list? Your dream collabo? I don't know, whatever it is.
What's next? I got a project with my man Balug's coming out called Chariot. That's gonna be really, really cool. It's gonna be on some like Erica Badu meets UGK kind of sprinkle like Bootsy Collins a little bit in there, you know what I'm saying? Uh, yeah, I don't know the exact date yet. We got all the music done. But that bucket list stuff is one thing I've done really bad at, just because like I'm very particular about my videos and shit. Is getting more music videos done. I need to be on more music videos. So that's the goal this year, is pumping out way more visuals. I got a bunch of concepts just loaded. I just gotta get ready to go. I'm saying it. I'm ready. It's gonna be dope. So we got just a lot of music. Sitting on 2 other projects, so then we'll get ready for 2022 already. So like, yeah.
And with this release, the one of one Mrs. Banks, it also comes with a one of one print of the cover art, which is the live painting that you did. Maybe explain why you want to include that. Like, it's great to make NFTs more fun and to give them sort of an experience, or have an experience with the NFT. What sort of was behind wanting to include the painting in with the purchase of the NFT?
Just because I'm still a big contemporary painter guy, that likes to see the physical. You can hang it on your wall, like just the energy of knowing like that one-on-one piece that you could have in your hand, and that's just who I am. And because today I'm a painter and a rapper, so I gotta do duality stuff. I gotta have both sides.
That's a perfect explanation. Awesome. Do you want to give any shout outs or anything like before we wrap it up?
Of course, shout out Day One. Shout out all the little young homies who are making art. It's great. I love that. Love seeing it. Shout out my family. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, and shout out whoever's buying this though. Whoever's doing this, who's ever looking at this, you were there in the pink. Yeah. Shout out you too. Shout out all the people watching this.
Nice. All right, Perry. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate your time, and now we're gonna get busy and play some of your music. We've got it lined up for the venue in here, and hopefully you're also in here in avatar form as well, because we got a little chat, so you could like talk to the people in the chat as well. It's always great to kind of have that sort of virtual interaction in these kind of environments and just kind of experience it. So on that note, thanks again. 12th of March, that's today, the premiere of this interview. You can pick up Mrs. Banks, yes, Perry Paints, featuring Talela, produced by Old Milk. Get your hands on that. And it's a one of one. It's a 101. So this is the first Genesis audio NFT drop, and you don't want to miss that.